Resolve. Iowa drivers should not drive while on the phone. This is one of the biggest problems we have had for the last few years is distracted driving. Everything can happen. Death, injury, medical bills could skyrocket. This can be prevented if Iowa makes it against the law. Distracted driving causes many deaths because their focus isn't on the road. Also, if teens aren't allowed to talk on the phone, adults shouldn't be able to either. Multitasking is a very hard skill to do, and even an adult could get distracted to the point of an accident. Finally, distracted driving leads to many bad results. Insurance money will go very high for each crash and could kill more than one person, even inside the car.
It is clearly proven distracted driving leads to many bad things, such as the increase of insurance rates. With every crash, you pay a higher insurance price. Another bad result of distracted driving are the fines. Fines for distracted driving can range from $50 to $450. You may have to pay even more for crashing. Finally, distracted driving may cause you to face legal consequences. Imagine yourself driving while talking on the phone with your best friend and you crash. The person that you crash dies. You will have to go to court, face trial, and possibly even get sent to jail. Is this all really necessary? You could just wait to talk to your friend until you're done driving. People talk about fairness, how everything should be fair. But why don't these rules of fairness apply to the laws of our state? The point is, if teens aren't allowed to use the phone at all while driving, adults shouldn't be able to either. Looking at Iowa's major laws about distracted driving, law number 1. Iowa bans texting and driving for all ages. It is to be noted here that the law only talks about texting, but not talking. Law number 2. There is a ban on texting and talking and driving for novice drivers, which is teens. Do you think that is fair? I mean, adults aren't able to text while driving, but they can talk while driving, but teens can't text or talk while driving. That seems it's not really that fair. In Iowa, 400 people die per year in motor crashes. That could be caused mostly by the adults. So if teens aren't allowed to use phones at all while driving, adults shouldn't be able to either. Lastly, we always have to keep in mind the fact that we lose many Americans because of distracted driving. The biggest disadvantage of distracted driving is death. 3,328 people die and 421,000 get injured due to distracted driving. Also, it is proven that engaging in visual and manual subtasks associated with the use of handheld phones increase the risk of getting into a crash by 3 times. It's basically saying that texting and driving can increase the risk of getting crashed by 3 times. And the U.S. government states that one text or call could wreck it all. This quote is very straightforward. One text or call could cost you your life, and life is something that is very valuable and something you cannot get back.
You're on a 2-hour road trip. You decide to stop and get things you need. You check your phone because it has been illegal to do so behind the wheel, and you have 5 missed calls from your grandmother and an angry voicemail from your mom. Because of this law, it turns out that your grandmother is in the hospital because you did not pick up the phone. Iowa should focus on educating people about the dangers of distracted driving because talking on a phone while driving is safe. Not being able to answer calls will lead to missed opportunities, and educating people costs less than making a law.
Talking on the phone while driving is safe. According to LA, personal lawyers say that the #1 cause of accidents is speeding and reckless driving. So why are we going to enforce a law against having a cell phone in our hands when we could be focusing more on reckless driving and speeding? And according to NBC News, say that in Buffalo, a 46-year-old man was found dead trapped in his car from a snowstorm. And if the man had a phone with him, it may could have saved his life. And we now have Bluetooth available to lower the risk of calling while we are driving. And people have that option to be more safe on the road, and Bluetooth is one of those options.
Excuse the interruption. Lonnie O'Grady, please contact the office at extension 6701. Lonnie O'Grady, please call 6701.
Not being able to answer calls will lead you to missed opportunities. 42% of missed calls are missed opportunities. Whether that is the biggest dream of your life or a small one, you won't be able to tell if you are behind the wheel of a car. If it is illegal, that is almost half of your calls. Do you really want to take that risk? Also, 46% of calls are sales or work-based. If you have to be behind the wheel of a car on work hours and it is illegal to pick up the phone, you cannot answer calls while driving, even if that costs your job. My grandmother fell down the stairs a few years ago, and we were able to help her because of phones. We were able to save her. But if another accident happens to her or another family member and it is illegal to pick up the phone behind the wheel of a car, my grandmother or yours or anybody who you care about, you could possibly not be able to save them.
Educating people costs less than making it a law. Passing laws in the state costs about $700 to $800 plus the cost of enforcing these laws. And more than 90% of these people admit to posting on social media from behind the wheel after a law was made. And if 90% of people aren't following the law, then why should we waste $700 to $800 per state on this law? And when kids are driving, when kids are learning to drive, they take driver's ed, and that usually costs about $300 to $500. Driver's ed is mandatory for kids to learn how to drive, so it'd be easier to educate them about the dangers of the road.
Who's winning and why?
They're gonna work with the only ones they lost.
Actually, can be spread through fluid. What?
I tried to, but I don't know.
It is sad that this is the nicest stuff I own. I mean, right.
I'm not wearing a dress. We don't need to do it unless you do it. I'm wearing a dress with sneakers to the 8th grade class.
I thought it was the homecoming. Oh. No, never mind. Yeah, it's in Mary.
It's not yours.
Mario
But it's Marin.
Cool.
My opponent may say that you get a lot of missed opportunities when you're not allowed to take calls in the car. But it's simple. There's nothing wrong with taking a call. Just pull over. Keep your phone in your pocket and set the vibrate setting. When you hear it go off, just pull over and take the call. You can set different alarms for different people, whether your boss, your mom, your dad, anything, so you know when it's important to pull over and take that call. So
just keep it next to you in your pocket so you know when you need to do that. Next, my opponent may say that Bluetooth calling offers hands-off calling. How is the danger, you ask? It requires multitask. Keep your mind on the road and talk at the same time. It doesn't sound very hard, but it is for a lot of people, especially if you're in the city or in a very busy intersection. For example, my mom has Bluetooth calling in her car, and she uses touchscreen to dial my dad's number. Well, the touchscreen setting doesn't always work right away, and she has to try about 5 times before she gets it right. While you're doing that, your eyes are still off the road, and according to distracteddriving.org, 5 seconds is the average time your eyes are off the road while texting, or in this case, dialing a number. When traveling at 55 miles per hour, that is enough time to cover the length of a football field blindfolding. So, overall, Bluetooth calls could still be a very overwhelming feature. Lastly, my opponent may say that no one would listen to a law if it was placed and it cost too much money. Yet, the law, think about the law of murder. We have the law put in place, yet some people still don't follow it. So, overall, even if there is a law in place for calling, it is in your hands if you follow that or you don't. So, it could easily benefit many people, and if it's really that big of a deal, pull over.
My opponent says that we should make it illegal because it is fair to make it illegal for adults to call if it is for teens. But tell me this, who has more experience driving, teens or adults? Teens have only been on the road for a few years at most, and adults have actual experience with it. So is it necessarily unfair to make a decision that can save someone's life for teens but be okay for adults? Also, there are also fines for drunk driving or speeding too, which also cause much more accidents, as we said earlier. So why are we going to make this illegal if it causes fine? I find that irrelevant considering we have fines for drunk driving and speeding. Also, most people don't want it to become illegal. A poll we have says 72% from ABC News would not like it to be illegal. Tell me this, aren't we a country for the people? Aren't we a country that follows what our people believe we can do? If 72% say we should be trustworthy, are we really going to deny them that? Also, Bluetooth does cause you to talk, but doesn't a passenger in the car as well? And it does allow you to take your eyes off the road, but doesn't doing makeup in the car too? Are we going to outlaw those things, such as eating in the car, or doing makeup, or even talking to another passenger because it can compromise your focus? Everything in life can be dangerous, but it's what we do with it. It's how we decide what is safe and what's not that can really decide our lives.
In conclusion to this debate, Iowa drivers should not be able to talk on the phone while driving. Driving while on the phone can cause injury and even death, and nothing is more valuable than a human life. Also, if teens have to obey the law and have no phones on, not even Bluetooth, then why do we think it'll be safe for adults? Driving while on the phone can also cause many harmful results, like insurance rates going up, fines, and going to jail. All of these are reasons why Iowa should make driving while on the phone illegal. There are many risks when you step into a car, and you don't want to add to them by being on the phone. Think about all the people that die. They're just like you. They don't think it'll happen until it does. So keep your phone in your pocket and save your life and the lives around you. Thank you.
So we have just stated that Iowa should be focusing more on educating people about the dangers of distracted driving while talking on the phone. Because talking on the phone while driving is not a big cause of accidents, and some calls are just calls you can't miss. So, say you're on a road trip and you've been expecting a callback for a part in a movie you auditioned for. Moments later, your phone rings, and you know it has been illegal to pick it up from behind the wheel. So you let it go to voicemail, and it turns out that you would have gotten the part you wanted if you just would have picked up your phone. So tell me, is it worth it to miss a huge opportunity of your life because some people just cannot be responsible on their own?
Proven. Anna leaves